I would say we have a lot of dreamers and doers in Thomas County, and especially in the heart of Colby. And I love the spirit of progressiveness. I love that they don't just talk about doing things, they actually walk the walk.
Right now, Colby has intense growth happening. The potential for continued growth is really amazing because of the collaboration that happens in Colby.
Yeah, we've always tried to stick with that label that we have as being called the Oasis of the Plains. When you think of an oasis, people are going to try to live near that, build housing around that.
Oasis would mean like a fresh spot in an arid region, and I think that picture that has been created for Colby to be that spot in a region, that refreshing place.
So you've got your local circle, the people that live here, work here, and you've got a bigger circle of that we're serving a regional need, and then that transient population too, those people that are 13,000 cars on average are traveling down the interstate, and we want to capitalize on that as well.
If you look back where we started with the travel center and where it's at today, just from a sheer volume standpoint and from the guest perspective that they have seen us evolve over the years, it's an opportunity for them to continue to make Colby the stop along I-70, creating more of a destination and allowing people not to just pass through Colby. They're stopping because they know what Colby has to offer.
Well, first it's a little bit of a pressure because we kind of need to keep it looking sharp, new, and inviting.
So I think the people here help make this a real oasis for travelers, and our goal is certainly for Colby to be a destination.
My family's roots were in Pennsylvania. As I said earlier, we're a fourth-generation dairyman, and my father realized if we were going to have an opportunity to succeed as a fourth-generation dairy, then we needed to look outside of Pennsylvania where we grew up. That search led us honestly primarily to Kansas, and interestingly enough, you travel all over the state, and I was 24, 25 years old at the time. You have a very different version of where you should live at that point in your life. And my dad kind of leaned on my older brother and I to choose, because we were ultimately going to raise families in whatever community we chose. We were milking 200 cows when we left Pennsylvania. We started with in that neighborhood of 800. Our focus has been to grow here. We believed in the strength of the area and that would support the growth. So we just finished a renovation of our existing milk plant. We currently can process about 1.7, 1.8 million pounds of milk a day. And we expanded our dairy operations here by the Rexford facility to build a super modern 10,000 cow facility.
But what we remember and rely on is the fact that we are an agricultural-based community. Ag is very, very important to the success of Colby.
And so something that we do really well, we bring people regionally to community to serve their needs, whether it's healthcare, shopping, dining, events, like the event center, that we're already doing that really well. Historically, we've always done that really well. Yeah, when you're looking at trying to figure out those next things that make you relevant, you can go out on limbs and attempt things that might be new. The other option is what do we already do well and how do we capitalize on that? So you go back and you look at the Kansas trade or pull factor for the last 10 years, and we have ranked number 2 across the state for the last 10 years.
A little over 2.5 years ago, this was a cornfield. It was just an agricultural ground, and so we had to start, and a lot of earthwork, a lot of aggregate piers, different things like that go into construction. But you fast forward, it seemed like a blink of an eye, and all of a sudden this facility is up in the air, and we're seeing steel, and we're seeing all these things go up, and and then all the interior finishes begin to come around, and exterior finishes, and just the excitement that builds around that. It's about taking care of people and making a commitment to the future of healthcare. But when you look at Colby, you definitely see, hey, there's a community that's really investing in itself, and there are people in that community that are making that happen, because these things don't just happen on their own, right? It takes a lot of people to make them happen. A little background story that maybe not a lot of people know about me is my youngest son had a heart transplant and later then developed cancer. And so through that whole journey, there's a lot to that. But a big passion of mine is really rooted in healthcare, is because people here cared for me, right? They cared for my son, they cared for my family. You know, we moved here, we're not from here. I don't have family that lives here. And here we are in a situation where we just moved. All of a sudden my son develops cancer, he's 2 years old, you know. And the people in this community just rose up to help us like we'd been here since we were, you know, born and raised. And that meant so much to me, whether it be the medical system, whether it be the people in the community, the businesses, you know, just everybody just surrounds you in love and compassion and empathy and want to help you. And, you know, how could I say no to that?
We're going to survive. We're not just thriving, we're going to survive. We are ahead of the curve. We do not sit back and wait for a problem to happen. We are actively and progressively looking forward into the future and going, okay, how can we address future needs today? Let's make a plan today.
Knowing that that's going to bring in more of a workforce, you need housing for those workers. And then you layer that with, we actually paid to have a housing study completed that we received back in 2023 that clearly articulated the needs. That not only do we have needs for the moderate income population, but the higher end of the population as well as far as income, and then low income needs as well. And what we found from our housing study is we need all of those housing units as well. And so one of the things that I've tried to really focus on the last 4 years is trying to grow that housing living unit base.
Our local JUCO has done a fabulous job of offering classes to our students at no cost while you're in high school. Dr. Seth Carter has made strides, whether it's in development of facilities, opportunities for affordable education, or housing on their campus. So again, big picture, you move here and you go, oh, my kids are gonna leave me and they're gonna have to go away to get that next level of education. That is not true. You have it right here in Northwest Kansas, right here at home in Colby.
Yeah, so when you look at the Star Bond project, the idea is that you're going to find a way for even more people than what you already have coming in your community to look for services, whether that's entertainment services, whether it's schools, junior college, or even healthcare services. And so you find an attraction like what we've done working with the developers on an equestrian arena that has the potential on paper to bring in an extra 150,000 people in your community every year that weren't necessarily planning on coming.
It's really cool that we're going to see this thing through and get this thing finished up and provide something for not just Colby, but for the surrounding areas. Anybody coming to this has got to go through Goodland, Oakley, Atwood, wherever down the interstate. So it is absolutely good for us, good for the surrounding communities, and just gives people, I always call it lifestyle deals. People want something to do. So it is really a chance to get a Star Bond project in Western Kansas. And if we do, I'm not gonna say if we do, when we do, we'll be the very first one in the Western District out here.
In Colby, that equestrian arena is going to provide a plethora of different events throughout the year that not only local people can take part in, but also people that are visiting Colby.
The people are the heart of Thomas County. Without their mindset, without their encouragement, and their progressive behavior, we would not be the community that we are.
And, you know, I've lived in several different spots and I've seen several different instances where it's not as easy as you think it should be. So to be able to come to the community that, hey, by and large, has been extremely welcoming to us. I can't think of anything that's really not been a positive in the last 25 years. So
that's what's great about Colby is there's no better place in the world to raise a family. I mean, it's an awesome community full of great, hardworking, dedicated, prideful people that care about each other.
And so that's the message I want to give somebody looking at Colby. There's never been a better time to be here, and the support that you'll receive will be unmatched.
I believe that Thomas County is, and this is going to sound cliche, the best place to live, work, and raise a family. I want to add to that and say it's the best place to live, work, raise a family, and retire. You can have it all here, and that's rare. You can truly have it all right here.